All right, welcome everyone to the Print on Demand Playbook podcast. My name is Rusty Pepper.
And I'm Maddy Alcala.
And together we explore the fascinating world of print on demand, from the companies and technology shaping it to the leaders who make it great. And all along the way, we share the strategies, the insights, and stories to help you and your businesses grow, innovate, and get ahead. How did I do on that one, Maddy?
You nailed it, Rusty. That's what we do here at the Print on Demand Playbook. Good job. Kicking the year off right, just like you and I have over the past couple weeks.
Yeah, it's nice to be home. It's good to see you.
It is nice to be home. Good to see you too. I missed you last week at Impressions.
I know. Well, we missed you as well. I had a lot of people asking, where's Maddy? I'm like, well, I'm here. Well, that doesn't count.
We gotta get you a blonde wig. You can just run around. Hello.
Hello. I should put it on backwards. I'll just like turn around and say hello.
That'll be our next trip. Rusty, Maddy, Rusty, Maddy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like that. So this is going to be a quick show that today we're just really wanted just to touch base as we end the end of January. It was a busy kickoff to 2026, which is awesome. So why don't we dig into like where we've been, what we've seen, and just kind of set the tone for 2026.
I love it, Rusty. It has been a wild start to the year. I think a lot of people in the industry would say that it's been busy, but it always is. I mean, this, especially for travel and shows, Q1 is the kickoff season. So we started the year at the PPAI Expo back in Las Vegas, getting our feet wet on the promo side, but promo and POD now after that show are definitely one concept. And then I jetted off to the United Kingdom and you went to Long Beach, California after that for Impressions. Isn't that right?
It was. I like the spirit that you and I went to those shows in thinking, okay, so we're going to call each other. We're going to do a FaceTime. We're going to record it. And we're going to do an episode from the UK and Long Beach. And we really didn't think about the calculation on the 9-hour difference and what shape one of us would be in when the other was in fresh shape. It would just been a absolute train wreck, regardless of who was later than the other. It would just not have been the right format. So we ended up bailing on that one. But it was a great idea.
It was a really good idea in our brains, and maybe we'll pull that off at some point in the future to do the FaceTime podcast from across the pond or something like that. But I just always underestimate how busy I'm going to be at these shows. Like, I've gotten better about, I really try not to schedule calls anymore when I'm on the road, unless it's a really important customer call or team call or something, because then you're just trying to do it from your phone in a hallway. But yeah, it just gets so busy running around, which is great. I'm exhausted. I'm happy to be home. I know you are too.
The re-entry always sucks coming back from those things. You're just like, I push so much off. I'm like, oh, you pay the price. But
yes.
Banging away on the airplane. But so let's talk about PPAI first, because
yes,
I think you and I both saw a lot of the same trends, but I'm gonna let you kick it off, and then I will add my thoughts to it as well.
Yeah, well, as we talked about when we chatted with Drew Holmgreen, CEO of PPAI, this was my second expo this year. Also his second expo. I'm just going to keep holding on to that claim to fame. So Drew and I have something in common. But yeah, year over year, the big change for me was my first expo last year, 2025. Print on demand was a topic of conversation, but it wasn't everywhere. This year, it felt like it was everywhere. It was in the formal signage of the event. There were booths. There were companies that are print on demand native companies that were exhibiting at the show. So I thought it went from kind of a chatter topic in 2025 to a front and center main agenda point at the PPAI Expo in 2026. So that was super cool to see. What do you think?
100%. That was the one thing that just got me pumped. You and I spent a majority of our time together at PPAI. We did a lot of our meetings together. And that was a common theme. And when we did walk the floor, that's what we saw. We saw signage in the booths. We saw suppliers talking about how they're moving from the analog to the digital era. They're all still struggling with that, but at least they're addressing it. It was definitely the buzz around the show. All the distributors we talked to are definitely pumped. They're definitely trying to solve for it. They're looking for the right tools. And I do want to address some of that after we get through, because I do think that kind of sets the table for what we're going to see the remainder of the year and some of the different challenges. I want to say challenges, but the thoughts and conversations we were having around this. But I just, don't let me forget, because I got that old reptilian brain that easily forgets things. But POD was top of mind. It was like everyone wanted to talk about it.
It was. It was. I think that was the name of the game at PPAI for us, for me, and we should definitely come talk about that more. But the adventure into promo did not stop with me at PPAI. I jetted off over to London after Expo. I did manage to get home for about a day and a half, though, and change suitcases and hug my kid. So that was good. And went off to the UK, did some facility tours to visit some of our partners over there, which was a lot of fun. And then I went up to Coventry, England, which was great, though I don't recommend it in January. It was freezing my butts off. And went to the Merchandise World Show, which is run by Sourcing City and put on by BPMA, which is the British Promotional Merchandise Association. I think is that what BPMA stands for. But there's a partnership there through ASI, so it's kind of this trade association for promo, and that's the UK arm. So got to meet a lot of folks in the promo space in the UK market. There was some crossover of people who'd been at PPAI who I got to spend some more time with up in Coventry. So that was a lot of fun. And I think my take from that show was, someone said this to me, I thought it was a really interesting way of putting it. Promo has actually been doing print on demand for a long time. It's really automation and technology associated with POD that's the new concept. And I love that framing because I think it tied back to a lot of what we were seeing at PPAI too, and it was just a different way of thinking about it.
Yeah,
My cat says hi.
absolutely. Hello, Kat. It's I had major FOMO that you were over at Merchandising World because you got to see one of our really dear friends, Alistair, who's now at Sourcing City. So I was kind of jealous of that,
Yes.
but then I also know that like Rob Watson, Michelle, all these folks from the U.S. that were there. So I saw all these pictures. I was like, oh, but of course, we had our own fun at ISS in Long Beach. So that was a lot of
I
fun.
saw the pictures too. So what'd you do at Impressions? That's always a great show. That's such a good center of gravity so many people come to.
It is. I just wish it would be back to back with PPAI. I wish they could coordinate that. A couple of years ago, they did it. It made it so much easier, so you don't have to go, especially for those that
Home and
are on the
back
West
and
Coast,
cross country.
home and back. Exactly. But Impressions, it was well attended again this year. It felt like actually let's talk about attendance for both PPAI and Impressions. I'll talk about the Impressions because I saw that. I did one thing I wanted to talk on PPAI. I cannot say that. I don't know why I cannot say PPAI that easily.
PPAI.
Was the traffic this year and the folks that I talked to was it wasn't as heavy, but what it was the quality of the attendees were better. And the suppliers that I was talking to, that was one thing that also stood out to me was the fact that they had really good engagement and conversations with the attendees. So it wasn't, some years you go there and it's just like you cannot get through certain aisles and stuff like that. It was a very constant, steady stream. So I probably when PPAI is going to release the final numbers of the expo, you'll probably see that the attendance was down, but I would say that the quality of those that were going was definitely up. And even the quality of the meetings that we had, was up. Now let's talk about impressions from that perspective. It did not feel as heavy as in years past.
Interesting.
Now it could be that the weather kind of was sucky. I don't know why that affected it, but it just didn't happen. And also the big storm, the winter storm that came through towards the end of that, or that was coming in that weekend, a lot of us bailed out early.
Yeah.
And so I know, I don't know what it was like on Saturday and even Friday afternoon, because all of us were heading to the airport. I saw a ton of people at the airport on Friday, and they all said they were doing the exact same thing, trying to get ahead and get home before the winter storm. But great overall. We kicked it off with, I did a fireside chat with Jim Toll from Canva at an event that was separate from it, but it kicked off Impressions. And then Cassie Green interviewed Frank Myers, the CEO of SNS. So we got to see a little sneak peek of, well, it wasn't a sneak peek, but really got to learn more about what they're doing with their no-touch systems and the automation there, which I thought was actually pretty interesting to see, because I think that's going to set the trend for what we're going to see more and more across the industry, and how automation, as you talked about earlier, is going to affect how all the fulfillers and providers in this industry are actually managing orders and making it more efficient. That's going to drive out more costs. So pretty exciting stuff going there. So if y'all haven't checked out what SNS is doing with their touch system, definitely worth checking out. I thought I kind of geeked out a little bit on it because it's just freaking cool.
It is super cool. And I've had a couple people ask me about this no touch system already. And they had made the Fast acquisition. What was that? Last summer? Late last summer that went
it was
down?
during ASI Chicago is when that thing
Yeah, this was
got
July, I
announced, because it was
guess.
like the buzz at ASI Chicago. So yeah, it was like
Yeah.
June or July.
Yeah, well, they're making some moves into technology, so it'll be interesting to see how it comes of that. But I think the name of the POD can mean so many different things. For a long time, POD was e-commerce and drop shipping. It still is in some senses. POD, of course, can be minimum order quantity of one. 2026, POD means automation. It is the year of automation and technology for this industry, scale, reliability, everything that comes with that. So I think we both saw that at respective shows. And I had conversations at Sourcing Cities, Merchandise World on the same topic. People thinking about technology in different ways who are saying, I'm already doing print on demand. I'm already making what I need when I need it. But I'm really thinking about automation and the systems and everything that's going into this industry. So good time to be in this market for sure. Lots of opportunity.
No, there is, and I also we can't announce it, but we did get the update on there was already one acquisition in the books for this year. I think it's going to be a really nice one. It's not a huge
Mm,
one. But it's definitely going to get the attention of people in the POD space. So that's going down now. We expect to see more of that coming as well. But overall, theme from impressions was kind of like PPAI, POD. Partnerships, collaboration, product innovation is going to be key too. I didn't see, now I also wasn't necessarily looking for a lot of equipment updates and trying to, that
yep.
wasn't really what I was there for. I'm looking at more of the platforms, the partners, and people that are really moving from the demand and the technology layer standpoint.
Hmm.
And there was there's some pretty neat things that I'm seeing on the company store as well as configurator side of the business as well. Just advancements that some folks are doing. I'm just like, okay, that's freaking cool. Which
Yeah.
brings me to the topic that I kind of teased about earlier that I want to talk about is let's talk about some of the challenges, some of the conversations I had with some of these leaders. These are very successful people that are running mid 8-figure businesses. So they're not small businesses, but
Mm,
um, paralysis by analysis when it comes to looking at their tech stack and how they're making decisions. There's so many choices out there. And that, to me, that tells me that we're kind of in this mid transformation period of the industry, which I think is a positive. It's not a negative because there's so many solutions. People are looking at challenges. They're all seeing it the same way. They're putting money in towards it. But what's happening is, and you can appreciate this from a technology standpoint, is so many options, so many good options. They keep meeting, they keep seeing different ones. And every time they just like, oh, they keep waiting to make decisions. And then all of a sudden 6 months go by and they've done nothing.
yes. Yes. I'm seeing the same thing. I think it's a very interesting trend, and I would guess that it's played out in other industries. I don't know them, but I'm sure that it has, as you have a large amount of innovation and technology come into a market that's traditionally been more of an analog or manual space. I am curious. I think you're right. I think that means that we're in this midpoint of probably going to see some more consolidation. There's going to be a sorting out of who becomes more of a leader and kind of which players fall to the side. There are a lot of choices. And I think something that I have seen business leaders stumble on a bit when it comes to that is expecting the technology to drive the strategy. I think strategy needs to drive the technology. And so it's actually something I talk to customers about in calls is what is your business strategy and what is your business problem? And then we can have a conversation about the technology to solve for that. But I think some of that might be tied to people not having a clear strategy. Because I actually do think there's a difference when I get into it with customers or prospective customers or just industry conversations of someone who has a really clear strategy of what they're trying to do and deliver for. There's still a choice paradigm that they're living in, right? But they know what outcome they're trying to get to. They know what their plan is. They know what problems they're trying to solve. So like I just talked to someone this morning actually who was like, this is what I need because this is where I'm going. And that was a very different conversation than people who are like, I want to do print on demand at scale, for example, right? Okay, well, there's probably 15 platforms or tools that you could look at, if not more, can help you get there. But like, what does that mean for your business? What does that mean for your customers? Like, what does success look like? So that's some of what I think may be driving that. But I also think it's just a market dynamic right now, is everybody's innovating and investing and looking at software. And so by nature of that, it's just hard for the buyers because they have to sift through it a little bit.
It's expensive and you don't want to make a
Yeah,
miscalculation.
true.
The tech stack itself just there's just more and more layers that are getting added to it. And
Hmm.
it's hard. I mean, you know that better. I mean, you live that. And so how important is that and versus all these other things, and how do they make those decisions, and which one's going to write, which one's going to work with it? And
Yep.
I don't know. It's interesting because it wasn't like it was a one-off. I've heard that from 2, 3 different people in different elements, but all very much
Yeah.
similar parallels. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's a trend there. We've talked about agility, right? How you don't need one solution necessarily. You have to be able to be flexible because certain configurators, design configurators, solve for different problems. Some are really good for textiles,
Exactly.
some are cylindrical, some are great for paper, whatever. And so how do you make a decision? Well, maybe based on the use case, you're pulling different ones for, if you're flexible, you can integrate that. If you've got company stores that, maybe order my gear on top of, that's a good solution for one fit, but then I don't know, a Fulfill Engine's platform or Printful's or Printify's platform might be better for another. You have to have flexibility.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go to market with just one. And I just named a couple. There's so many out there that are amazing. I saw a ton at PPAI in demos and even at
Yeah.
ISS, and I was like, wow. I mean, there's some,
Yes.
they're all so close. That's the thing, is there's not a clear leader. It's not like you can sit there and say that platform is so much better than all the rest, and that's where it's going to be the clear winner.
I know. I love the noise. I love the narration of like, where is it going to go? I completely agree. And I think, I mean, I have strong views on this topic. I think that there's parts of your technology stack that you want to be very nimble in terms of having options is great. And that's the right thing for the business, because as your business expands, that like you would need that. There's parts of your technology, the stack, I think that having options is actually really bad. Like we've talked about this on previous episodes. I think we got into this with Chris Min. Like you don't have 4,000 different ERPs as a business. There's gonna be a nightmare, right? And so I think there are some technology choices that it's like it is. You really do have to get deep from a buying perspective and say, I'm kind of pick a path and stay here because the switching cost is so high and the operational friction you can create for your team if you're running multiple systems of a similar kind at the same time is intense. But there are other types of tools, if it's an editor or a store platform, where as long as you're plugging those into the underlying infrastructure that you're using, if that's order management, ERP, right, even workflow, but you really shouldn't be typically integrating tools directly into your workflow. There should be that order management layer in the middle. Then that gives you the flexibility to have different options and test. And as new players come into the market, you can experiment and iterate. So, there's still expense associated to that, but it can kind of give businesses some tools to say, all right, I'm going to put a couple bets on the table. I'm not just going to put all my chips over here. Use a Vegas analogy, go back to PPAI and see how the market shakes out.
Yeah. You don't want people to be so fearful that they don't make many moves. But I also look at, I don't think there's a bad move out there right now. I mean, what I'm saying is the majority of these platforms are pretty good. And so
Yeah.
I'm just talking about more like when you're a company stores, you're configuring, look,
Yeah,
as long as
totally.
they can all talk together and work together, it's great. And I also do think that the network effect, as far as how people are actually leveraging the supply chain and the networks we're going to see more and more of that, especially as the enterprise continues to rise. But yeah, I'm
Well,
super freaking pumped after the
me
last
too.
month. I'm glad to be home. I actually canceled my trip next week because I just need to get some stuff done and recover. And we've got, at the end of this month, we are going to the POD conference by Saul's Fulfill Engine down in West Palm Beach.
I know we're going to get to be warm and see the alpacas and a lot of other great industry
Can't wait
folks.
for Bacchus.
Yes, I won't.
Maddie
Mrs.
Alpaca.
Alpaca over here. Maddie
I
Alpaca,
know.
everybody. Yeah, so we're going to go and see my kindred spirit of the alpaca out animal. Thank you, Stalls, for selecting a mascot that I resonate so deeply with. Yeah, I'm really excited for that show. It's going to be a good one. Last year, they did a phenomenal job at that event, so I'm sure it'll be the same this year. And I'm excited to see how the rest of the quarter goes. I'm with you, Rusty. I'm super bullish. I'm so excited about everything we're doing, where the industry is headed. And I'm also fascinated to see how different businesses make choices around technology and automation and POD. And no choice is a choice, to your point. There's some businesses who are just not doing anything, and that's going to have implications for them as well. So we'll be here narrating the whole thing along the way, POD Playbook.
And we're also going to be doing some stuff from the show itself. I know they're going to, this year, they're going to
Yes.
open up, they're going to have a podcast booth, which would be great, that we'll be able to actually do interviews from the show. I don't think they're gonna be live streamed, but we'll be able to show them afterwards. I've already got
Nice.
kind of my short list of folks that we're gonna be interviewing. So that's, I think, kind of covers it for what I had on our list to hit today. I just really wanted to kind of recap January since we're now at the end of the month. It's a good start to the year. It's positive. I think people need to be pumped. They should be excited about where it's going. And if you're not, you got something wrong with your freaking head. Get it checked.
That's a good way to end it. And with that, I think we can wrap up today. Go get your head checked, I suppose, is the takeaway from this episode.
Yeah. Get that thing checked.
Knocking, knock, 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 knock. It's usually what I do when I say hi to you. Ding, 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 ding. What's up?
It's all hollow. So
It's a nice hat. It holds your hat nicely.
it's actually, that's what it's there for, just to put the hat on. So anyway.
Oh, cool. Good chatting with you always, Rusty. Good to see you. And
You
we'll
as
wrap
well.
that up for
Welcome home.
today.
You got back, and stay warm.
You too.
Be good, everyone. Till the next time.
Be good. Thanks for listening.